from chapter 5, Face the Fact You're Lovable. And it starts with a quote by Marcus Aurelius. No one can keep you from living as your nature requires. Nothing can happen to you that is not required by nature. I lay there in the hospital bed alone. People I loved visited me, but I was glad when they left. Talking was exhausting. The drugs were so strong that I felt myself falling asleep in the middle of conversations with them. It was embarrassing. They asked me what I needed, if there was anything they could do for me. Nothing, I replied. The doctors and nurses have it handled, but thank you for visiting. I couldn't tell them what I really needed. That would have been more embarrassing than falling asleep. I was too vulnerable to make myself that vulnerable. I couldn't ask, would you please rest your hand gently on my leg for a while? Could you touch me really tenderly, please? Tender and gentle touch was all I could endure because I was so fragile. But as the weeks, then months, then years of sickness went by without being touched, I began to see myself as unlovable. I felt like my illness made me an unlovable burden. Years later, when I was finally touched in a tender way, it was overwhelming. I realized that I had been starving for it. I began to heal from my years of not being touched, but there was a bigger monster that continued to terrorize me. You see, my health challenges were not over. I would continue to be incapacitated, debilitated, hospitalized, bedridden, and vulnerable. Each time my health declined, I spiraled into unworthiness. Irrationally, I saw myself as an unlovable burden again and again and again. Shame lay on me like a heavy blanket of darkness each time I was laid up in a sick bed. When my health was stable, I knew my worth. I was confident and joyous. I loved my life, grateful for every moment of health that allowed me to really live. But when I was sick, my joy was unreachable. I became the unlovable, worthless burden that I had felt like for so many years. I watched my mental health decline, and even though I knew it was irrational, I couldn't seem to stop it. There were so many reasons that I was unlovable. It was an airtight case when I really thought about it. I can't have sex. I can't work. I can't cook a healthy meal for my family. I can't clean the house. I can't volunteer for my child's field trip. I can't attend the event I already RSVP'd for, and on it went. All of the things that I could not do because I was too unwell to get out of bed. Those inadequacies made me an unlovable burden. Then, when I inevitably became well enough to return to normal life again, my self-worth returned. It was a maddening cycle. Marcus Aurelius was the one who set me straight. Dead for millennia, but his words live on. Marcus was the greatest Roman emperor who ever lived. He based his life on the philosophy of Stoicism and left behind journals that have become known as his meditations. I was impacted by much of what I learned from studying his life, but there was one thing in particular that helped me to rebuild my self-worth, even in the face of complex trauma. Something he said that challenged my view of my illness. He essentially made me realize that my illness wasn't mine. Marcus said that everything that happens to humans is natural. To put this into perspective, apply it to a snail. Just as a snail will encounter the things that naturally happen to snails, a human will encounter the things that naturally happen to humans. Snails get snail diseases, and humans get human diseases. Snails run into snail-oriented challenges, and humans run into human-oriented challenges. And it can be said for every other manifestation in existence. Each of us experiences life in a way that is natural to our existence. In other words, every single thing that happens to us is a part of the human condition. Not a single one of us is uniquely flawed. We are all subject to our nature. Humans get sick. Humans go bankrupt. Humans get STIs. Humans get robbed, get in car accidents, die young, lose everything, go to war. Humans are bisexual, addicted, impotent, paralyzed, developmentally delayed, artistically gifted, and everything else in between. You name it, if it happens to humans, it is human nature. Instead of asking, why me, it makes more sense to ask, why not me? If it can happen to humans, it can happen to any one of us. Therefore, in the case of my illness, it can happen to anyone, and one of those people that it happened to was me. Realizing this helped me in two ways. First, I stopped feeling sorry for myself and mentally joined the human race. In this way, I began to look at my health challenges as simply a part of my nature as a human, and not something that I should be ashamed about. It did not reflect my worth any more than a snail getting stepped on by a human. Sorry, it did not reflect my worth any more than a snail getting stepped on by a human reflects that snail's worth. For these are the natures of humans and snails. The second way this knowledge helped me was that I realized if challenging things can happen to any one of us, then joyous things can happen to any one of us too. If one person can heal from something, then it means healing is possible for another person. My mental chatter turned from, I'll never get better, to, I'm going to heal myself just like other people have done. What is possible for one is possible for all.